respect. Yeah, yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, yeah, to heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
What up? What up? What up?
How you doing there, Eve?
I'm good. Whoa, I feel like I got a big face on the screen. Let me sit back a little bit.
Does it really matter? The bigger the face, the more they can see.
I'm just kidding.
You know, that's the I don't know, that's supposed to be the African you know, the real African woman is supposed to be thick, you know. But
big features, right?
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't know.
They say. Actually, I hear continental Africans shitting on the Black American look, and I never really understood that, because in real time I've seen people look like all sorts of different things, you know. And you,
how do you mean they don't like the look?
Well, they'll say that we have that we're mixed, you know, with the colonizer. You know, we're so light because of colonizer. You know, we're so comfortable being this mixture. And I mean, you can't choose your parents, right? Like how mean? They're so mean sometimes.
Well, it's not entirely. It's not really mean. It's ignorance, you know. We don't even know our history, and we've had this history where we're supposed to be you know, entirely African. And as you know, you can look at an African and you can say, hey, that's not me. Even if they're Somali, even if they're light skinned with so-called fine features, you can still tell the difference, you know.
Right.
But the thing is that it's a jealousy, because you got to remember that you're a superwoman. Yes, Eve, you're a superwoman. Oh yeah, get that smile. Yeah. Yeah, you're a superwoman. Because see, no matter what they say is that we did go through that ethnogenesis. We're the product of Aboriginal blacks, Black Irish, and Sub-Saharan Africans. So we have memories of three continental populations. We have the genius of three continental populations. We have, in a sense, the inventiveness. That's why the entire world culture, we made it. You know, I mean, we're the ones that made the telephone work. We're the one that made the electric light bulb. Everything is on light. We're the one that made the resistor. We're the ones that made the computer program that we're on right now. You know,
they say you guys wouldn't be using those computers and cell phones without Africa, without our resources, without our cobalt, right? So
no, we didn't need. How you doing, Jalen and Zachary? We don't need the cobalt. You know, the maybe some of that for the, you know, for the battery for the telephone, but not for the computer. Remember, they made those things back in the 60s and 70s. You know. The whole point is that it doesn't really matter. But see, they don't own anything anywhere. I was looking at this video today where these Chinese were slapping some Ethiopians around. And then a few months ago, the president of Ethiopia was talking about, you know, that African Americans, you know, we're not worth shit, we're lazy. And yet they're letting the Chinese come and whip their ass.
Right. You know? Literally whooping
right.
asses in 2024. I've seen those videos.
Yeah.
That is so strange to me, that you can be so ballsy with your talk and then let people treat you like that at home. You know, like, y'all are home, and these people don't respect you there. But
see, the thing is that when you don't respect yourself, when you don't know your history, what can you do? Remember, they have no history. They have no history because they have no history because they're a nationality okay, Africans are a nationality without a nation. What I mean by that is that because of the fact that when the Europeans at the when they divided Africa up and the Europeans took this state, that state, and they purposely made sure to divide, African ethnic groups. Leave a few houses in Nigeria, then put some other houses in Chad. Then we can have some other houses up in Cameroon. And so what they did, they successfully divided them up. And because they divided them up, that meant in a sense that they don't really have a nation and they don't really have a nationality.
Mm-hmm.
See, when Tariq Nasheed said, aha, it's time that we delineate. There's a difference between us and other folk because we're foundational Black Americans. When he did that, yes, he made us into a tribe, but he made us into a super tribe. Because the fact is this is that we got our divisions. Hey, come on now. Everybody grew up thinking that high yellow girls and boys were the finest men and women on the planet. Over time, we started saying, hey, let's give another brother or sister a chance. But that's how we began, And so again, it's nationality versus no nationality. The African cannot have any nationality, even though the Africans can come over here and they can attend our HBCUs. And in fact, it's really sad that many of the HBCUs, are full of non FBA. My granddaughter, she's went to two. I keep telling her, don't waste your time, but she wants to do this.
She went to two HBCUs.
Yeah. Now she's coming back to. She went to one in Arkansas. Let me see, what was it? She's in Arkansas now. Then she went to another one last year somewhere else. So I mean, hey, they're all bullshit because they don't really give you good financial aid. They don't give you good financial aid. What they do is that it's a bait and switch. They bring you in and then they say, aha, we're going to give you all these scholarships. And then you get a scholarship here, a scholarship there, maybe another scholarship down the road. And then in a sense, but they don't give you anything to help pay for room for housing and room and board. And so then you end up with $14,000 to $20,000 in debt to pay for the room and board. Wait a minute. I thought I had a full scholarship. We did tell you had a full scholarship.
Full academic scholarship.
Right. You've been there, done that. So then, so it's kind of frustrating. I never attended an HBCU. I'm sorry.
No, you're making a very valid point. Definitely part of my thoughts for this evening is that they're not like us. No, in HBCUs, it is a lot of foreign Blacks taking up space, and I get it. These are institutions that are supposed to be for the non-whites specifically. We've got the primary white institutions, PWIs, and then to combat that, HBCUs, which are supposed to be for the Black experience. But in real time, there's an HBCU down the street. Their tennis team and their golf team, and I want to say the baseball team, is looking real affirmative action-y at an HBCU. What does that mean? It's a lot of white people, and it's so strange to me to see something like that. But
that white people have taken over at least 3 to 5 of them have become predominantly white. Formerly HBCUs. The point is that we can be too integrative. We can be too integrated in the sense that we want to be integrative and bring in everybody. And a lot of times that's not cool, And the thing is that in a way, why are they doing that? In a way, I don't even understand. I don't even understand, but it's just that these people, HBCUs, a lot of them, they don't even have African American studies programs. They may, some of them, I tried to do a chat GPT search and, the list all the list all the HBCUs with African American Studies programs. Well, we cannot really tell you. You have to go and check out each one because sometimes they don't have the facilities and the monies and all that type of stuff, and that's pathetic, you know. And then like you were talking about the affirmative action programs for the what did you say, the tennis and the golf team or whatever?
Golf team, baseball, everybody's looking a little pale on these HBCU teams. And I'm like, I know niggas play baseball and I know niggas play golf. Like, what are we doing? But in real time, it's like the illusion of inclusion, because even in a space that's supposed to be safe for us, it's not. It's very inclusive for other people, almost as if readying you for life, like the reality check of an HBCU. Yeah, y'all are comfortable. Yeah, it's a bunch of y'all here, but that's not real.
You're not supposed to be there. You know what I found very interesting, Eve, is I found over my years of working is that, now this is weird. I don't care. I could be on a job, and it could be maybe one white person on the whole job, but every time we had a drawing, when you pick somebody to win something, I could be the one that shook up the bag with the numbers in it, but the number always comes out for a white person.
How?
I don't know. That's what I'm just saying. It's just that even on a metaphysical basis, things are set up that they win. You can be on. I've been on jobs where there'll be a big prize, and it's the only white person on the whole staff. They win, and you're the one that's shaking up the bag with all the how you get tickets. I don't know, at your school you might have tickets, and sometimes you guys having a celebration. Maybe it's in a radio or something like that, or maybe some tickets to a restaurant, and then you shake up the bag, and then it's the European on the job that gets it.
That is so strange that sometimes the math works out for them, but then I find that a lot of it is by design. They know somebody who knows somebody who's on the committee, right? And like you said you were spinning the bag.
I'm shaking the bag. And then somebody else pull a ticket out.
Yeah, I'd say like there's probably 50 of those tickets in there, and everybody else only had one chance.
Yeah, but it's the white staff member that wins. I mean, just like look at these HBCUs. One of the things that it looks like to me, I don't know. I wonder, you attended an HBCU. Were you recruited, or did you just apply on your own? I don't.
On my own. And I went for graduate school. So my parents told me that I was not allowed to go to an HBCU for my bachelor's degree because they said that I wasn't going to get my degree. They said it was going to be a party school, that it's not serious at HBCUs, and I'm not gonna do the things that I need to do there. So I needed to apply to other schools, and really, like you said earlier, I ended up getting more money from the PWI that I went to, like scholarship wise, than I did from the HBCUs that I applied to. But after I graduated, I said that I was going to go to an HBCU. Like, you can't tell me that it's going to be like that without knowing for sure. And even if it was like that when y'all went to school, it's not, you can't tell. No, in real time, they were right. Not like it was like a party school, but they were not serious like the white school I went to. They had counselors making sure that classes were taken in a sequence that made sense for your major. I never had to worry about like my financial aid not going or coming when it was supposed to. I had zero issues. I go to an HBCU, now my financial aid's all jacked up. I have to call people about money that not even grants. These are scholarships. This is money that
so-called scholarships.
Right. So it was like, man, I didn't have any of these problems at the white school I went to, and then people say, oh, it's because people don't put back. They don't give back. The alumni population does not give back to the HBCUs like a Harvard or like a Yale. And I didn't go to Harvard or Yale, but I mean, I get it. The alumni do things for the school to help further the advancement of, the different programs and stuff. But I think that, it might be because of what you're putting into the students. If you're not really helping them get through the program, then maybe they don't want to come back and help out. I don't know.
I think it's very complicated. Jalen Prasad said, I respect HBCUs and I wanted to be a part of that experience. But when I started looking at the money, the smaller white schools started to look a whole lot better because it was cheaper. Yeah, a lot of times it's cheaper. A lot of times, in a sense, you can get, my granddaughter, she didn't had none but A's and A pluses since she was in third grade. And so then, she spends her time trying to go to these HBCUs. And I said, why are you wasting your time? It's a waste because they're not going to give you the money. One of my sons, he went to an HBCU and then he left the college and they were still giving him scholarships and he wasn't even at the school. So I know that they had to have been stealing money. Because he wasn't at the school. He was in Chicago going to Olive Harvey, but they would still say, okay, you've got this scholarship. We're glad you came and signed up for it. It's just so crooked, and then you got administrators. There's no concern. Like you said, I went to the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. And but in Illinois, it's a school called Southern Illinois. It is known as the party capital of universities. So when your mom and dad were telling you don't go to a black school because it's party, when I was up at Illinois, that's all we did. When Friday night came, it was a party. Before I got married, it was a party. It was a party. It was hey, I didn't join the fraternity, but they wanted me to join a Y-Psi Phi. And in Y-Psi Phi, you had to drink. And so I don't drink because my father, he did the drinking for me. And so then when they was giving me the drinks, I was pouring the drinks into this plant. And so then, so then this guy named Chucky said, I don't think you've been drinking, Clyde. I said, yeah. So then I had to just start. So after a while, I sat there. Then I just started getting up, throwing stuff around. We got Clyde drunk. We got him drunk. We got Superman drunk.
Oh no! Yeah, no, them man, white schools party so hard. It's like all they do is party. Yeah. I would agree there. But white ice is colder. I don't know. My parents were very much under this illusion that they're gonna be more serious, and for what it's worth, the issues, I didn't have any issues really. Once you know what you're gonna do, some schools have the staff in place to help the students get there, and I didn't see that at the HBCU I went to. And I know that that's not everybody's experience, right? I get that, and I know that some of y'all had wonderful experiences, and it made you, the wonderful, brilliant people you are today. But in real time, are you giving back to the HBCU you went to? Because I bet you're not. And if you're not, then the math ain't mathin'. Because if you really felt like how you would say, then you would be like those alumni at Harvard and Yale. We wouldn't have this disconnect. Go ahead.
But then you gotta look at it from this perspective. Is that when I went to the University of Illinois. They have a black alumni association, and which I don't belong to, but I'm kept up with some of it. But the point is that you got to take from this perspective is that the average white person that goes to a PWI, a white institution, they come from money. They have money most of the time. Most of the time, they're not there on financial aid. Most of the time, they're not there looking for some grant. On Sunday, I don't know about your university, but I know my granddaughter at her HBCU, just like my PWI. On Sunday, they feed you breakfast. After that, you got to find lunch and dinner. You got to find lunch and dinner. So you're contacting your parents or somebody, send me $20, $30, $40. Okay, and so, but the thing, what I found is that I found that is very difficult. It's very difficult, I think, because they, at the HBCUs, they can say they don't have the programs, but they have the money, and they could make the program. I was doing a Chat GPT search of the schools that have Afro-American studies programs. You can't hardly find any HBCUs. You had to go to a white institution to really learn your history. And even at the HBCU, they got a white professor teaching your history.
That part. I found the African American studies programs to be a little lacking at the HBCUs. And people would say it's because, you're at a Black school already. Isn't that enough? No, it's not enough, because you've got Egyptology, and that's the only country in Africa we can learn about. What is Black studies if it's not wrapped up in Egypt? And then from there, like you said, they can make the program. They do it for other things. If there can be a hip hop history class, right? Because that's happening now. Then easily they could have done the same thing for the Black American story. Dr. Winters, I got to turn the air on. It is smoking over here.
Go ahead and do it. How you doing, Tawanta Craig? How you doing, JP? Marsha Byron, what up, though? The point is that when you go to a university, hopefully you want to get a good experience. But they've been having this discussion lately, and they were talking about a lot of these, Thank you, JP. JP says this channel is my HBCU, and Dr. Winters is a professor.
That's right.
My textbook.
Thank you, JP.
That's a great way to look at it. But what I found in a sense is that when you go to university, I attended a white university, and what I found is yes, they do have the support programs. They're going to make sure you graduate, because you're going to have to see your advisor all the time, and your advisor is going to look here, there, and he goes, hey, you got to get XYZ course. You haven't taken it. This is when you got to take it. If you had to stay this summer, you got to take it if you want to graduate or whatever, or if you want to go. But see, I heard them talking about how do these white girls get Black athletes, and so they was talking about that I think they get the Black athletes because they're good at oral sex, and I think their mamas teach them oral sex from the age of 2 up to 20, and that's why they're able to get those. I was an athlete. I played football. I know what them white girls was doing. Yes, the sisters can make all the records they want, but them brothers just love. They just love those European girls, and so then, but what they were saying is that also they were saying that the white girls, when they go to college, they're looking to find a husband, whereas the Black girls I go to college just like the Black boys to find a job,
Right.
Find a job. And I'm not going to tell a lie. When I was playing football, I did have girls who would wash I didn't have to worry about washing my clothes. I didn't trust them to do my homework, but I didn't have to wash or nothing like that. So hey, they took care of that.
Yeah.
Probably the Black athletes, they say that the white girls do their homework for them. So I didn't ever do that. I like school and studies. But anyway, so you got this dichotomy. You got this sister, she's at school to try to make sure that she graduates and gets a job. Whereas the white kids, a lot of times, number one, they're not there just on financial aid and a scholarship. Usually their parents got money to bag them up. And so that when they graduate, of course, when I graduated, I graduated from the University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana, as I said. I was a state certified teacher. You know, I had over a B+ average, you know. And so, but when I went back to Chicago to try to be a teacher, which I was trained for, I couldn't get a job teaching in the Chicago public schools. Because of the fact back then, the Chicago public schools, you did not have to be state certified. And the majority of teachers in the Chicago public schools that came from the South, and many of them belonged to sororities and fraternities. I didn't belong to a fraternity. So then therefore, in a sense, you know, I belong to Y Psi-Phi. So I mean, they don't have a branch. And so then I found, in a sense, that even though I was highly qualified, you know, I couldn't even get a job because the people from the HBCUs, they had the jobs. Because one of the things that I do like about HBCUs is that a lot of times the kids there can get those good internships. I think that's, you know, because it's all about getting a job. And so when that white kid graduate, his mom, dad, they know somebody. So you're going to get they're going to get a job, but they're going to have the money to, you know, put back into the alumni union. When we graduate, we got a big ass loan, or 2 or 3. You know, I mean, I remember I listened to Karen Hunter and Dr. Greg, you know, Greg Carr on Saturday. You know, I'll admit I'm a Canubian. I'm a narrative person. I support just about everything, and that's all they talk about is the beauty of the Black college. She doesn't teach at a Black college, but he does. And they always keep talking about the beauty of the Black college, and you need to send your kids to a Black college. And then I think about back in the 80s when my kids were going to college, and they were looking at Bill Cosby's show, and they were looking at that other show. And so, you know, I mean, everybody wanted to go and be popping. I don't know. That probably was before your time, wasn't it?
Well, kind of, yes, but also no. You know, the the little sisters and little brothers of the people who were, you know, in college around the same time. You know, those shows did make college cool, especially for, you know, Black people. You know, you knew that you had a place that, again, it's supposed to be a safe space for you, you know, after high school, before work. But like you said, we're not even being taught the same things with regards to what we're supposed to be doing in life in general. White female, Asian females, non-Black females are being told, go find your man, go find your husband. You know, you don't have time to waste. And hopefully he's going to be a white collar professional that you met at school. You know, so you go on the nursing track to find your doctor, you go on the paralegal track to find your lawyer, and not necessarily that you're boxed into that job as much as you were just there for the exposure to the people. You know, you met him when he was on his come up to becoming a doctor, you know, because that's going to be a long haul. So, you know, all the years of doctor school, your parents have already told you what you have to, you know, what all is involved. And like you said, we're going to school to find a job. My parents said, this is the best thing for you. Either going to go to the military or you're going to go to college.
Your parents told you that?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, my parents said.
That's what I tell my sons. I didn't know that.
They said you're not going to just stay around here. And I could not take a year off. I had friends who took a year off. You know, they wanted to find themselves. They wanted to travel. My parents weren't having any of that. They said no.
Did your friends find themselves? Did they travel?
No, they did travel, but you know, people, when you come from resources, when you're not having the same struggles, you've got time. You really do have time. When you have a job straight out of college because your dad knows somebody or your mom knows somebody, you know, you do have the luxury and the leisure.
It makes a difference.
It does. And you know, I thought it was cool that they got to do that, travel, because in real time, I worked. I mean, I've been working for a very long time. I mean, before college, I've been working, and that first paycheck in college at like a real job could have made me not go back if other things were in place. But like, I didn't have, luxury. Like I had to get a lemon to drive to work because public transportation here sucks. But
Wow.
it's like a little things that I had to do to try to make the math that my other race counterparts, they weren't having the same struggles. They weren't even having the same conversations. What do you mean work study? What do you mean work study what? No, I'm in the cafeteria to get some food, and then I'm gonna go. And you got to clean up. Like, you're cleaning up in the cafeteria. Like, okay, yeah.
I mean, you're in the when I was in the cafeteria, there's a I'd get that plate and I'd walk back up there for seconds. Damn, look at him going. Yes, I was gonna get my worth during the football season when I was on the football team. I didn't play all 4 years. When I was on the football team, we could go and we could eat at the stadium. We could eat steak, and on Saturdays we'd have filet mignon. On the game day, filet mignon, all that good stuff. But but the thing is, is that what I find is that's the dichotomy that Eve, like you were working after I stopped playing football, and I got married. I worked in student affairs, so I used to coordinate activities in the dorm, for Black people. I made a nice little salary too, but it was quite interesting because at that time, in a sense, you had more infrastructure, but that didn't matter because even though we had grants, all type of stuff, we still ended up with a loan. Somewhere along the line, they're gonna get you with that loan.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I think it's crazy that I had so much scholarship money and still have student loans.
Yeah.
That is crazy. My parents said, "Oh, it's because you went out of state." Okay, yeah, maybe. I know there's an in-state, out-of-state tuition. I think that conversation should, be held more seriously because, the financial burden on the student, it's a very real thing that's going to keep you from being able to do things later, when you've got this lingering student loan debt that you're just chipping away and people are buying houses and cars that you want to buy and, getting all sorts of different credit, but you can't because you owe all this money for a degree that you can't even get a job with, like JP said in the chat. Did you not get an internship? Because like Dr. Winter said, that's it right there.
The key.
That's the key. If you don't do that internship thing, you don't have your foot in the door anywhere. You don't know anybody. And it's like cold calling.
Yeah. But JP said, I recently graduated college and it's hard to get a job. It's a lot just to get an interview. What you had to do, JP, is that you had to make applying for a job a 27-hour process. In other words, you got to seriously send out applications. You got to send out your resume. You got to, in a sense, try to get some cold calls. And even though a lot of times people are going to say, aha, you have to apply online. Sometimes still go down to that office and talk to the people. And you can just say, I want to do the application. But what would be the best thing to be on the application? You want to communicate with them and let them know, in a sense, that you're active. But you have to really spend 29, 30 hours a day. It's only 24. 29, 30 hours a day looking for a job. And then something may materialize. But the only problem is that I don't care if it's the Black HBCU or PWI. At both institutions, they're going to still, if you don't come from a upper middle class household, you're going to have to get, some sort of loan. You're going to get some loan, Now that's just it. But like I don't know. Somehow my sons, they went to college and they didn't have any. Let me see, did he have a loan? No. My daughter had a little loan because she went to St. Xavier. So she had a loan, and but she paid that off and stuff. But the thing is, that's one of the reasons why they don't have those strong alumni associations, because the people who go to these universities usually already have money, and since they already have money and their parents can donate money or they can donate money, when they're coming out, they're going to get a job. I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, I don't care if you go to an HBCU or you go to a PWI, most foundational Black Americans, they're going to get a job with the government. They're not going to be working at a business or a private, equity firm. Every now and then one might, like they might be able to get into the technology. They might be able to get into AI somewhere there, but the vast majority of us, we're going to end up being teachers. We're going to end up working off grants. We're going to end up being at the post office. We're going to end up being in not in the State Department, but you're going to be be an administrative secretary in some sort of department for the government. Because see, these other institutions, they're not going to hire you. They're not going to hire you, because the thing is that they don't think you see fit. Just like I used to try to explain to people that I taught in Chicago for 46 years. I taught elementary, high school. I taught at Governor State University 10.5 years, 3 years at St. Xavier. So I seen it all. But what I found is that they really, in a sense, don't want you to really teach the kids in the public school, because if every kid in the public school is qualified, then where would the white kids from the suburbs get a job? Remember, the city is where they come and work. So it's not in their interest.
I always thought that was so strange. My teacher counterparts who don't live in the city that they're teaching in. I live in the city I teach in and have lived in the cities that I teach in, but they don't. They travel. They travel from the beach to the
every summer they're traveling.
And I always thought that was strange because they'll talk about the demographics, they'll talk about the student population, they have all this shit they have to say about the students in the city. And I'm like, well, why don't you just go work out the beach? They pay more. You wouldn't have all these issues that you are seeing from the inner city students, black students. And not that there's not Black people who live out the beach, because that's not it either. No, in real time, it's harder to get a job out at the beach. So then what they'll do is they'll get a job in the city, and then they will transfer skills. You get to use your years worked to get into the more cushy teaching position. So now we don't have any teachers because all of these teachers have left the city to go get their cushy job, but they don't start there. No, you can't start there. It's so hard to start there, but they can transfer into, and
but they trick you, just like me. They tell you, okay, you graduate, you got an loan, you got this debt. Then they tell you, okay, you teach in a underprivileged school, they're going to take money off your loan. That's a damn lie. They don't take shit off. Well, I'm sorry. They don't take nothing off. For some reason, when you ask for the forms, they can't find them. But
I have a Black Studies degree. It's in urban education. Did you like that? They're so nice with the language, when it comes to us. But you can't. I can't say I have a degree in white studies. If you just go get a degree in education, it's not a degree in white studies. No. And a degree in urban education, when I find that the hoods are being gentrified and taken over by people who don't even look like me. I don't know if it's urban as much as maybe the language, like we talk about, people are using words all willy-nilly. They don't give a damn about what these words mean as much as they just want to attach it to Black people when it makes sense for them.
Well, when I was going to school, I took social studies. I was trying to be a social studies teacher. The first day in class, they said, "Remember, you're a propagandist. You're there to sell America."
Ooh.
And that's what they told me the first day in my education classes.
Ooh.
And see,
As a social studies teacher.
What's that? Oh yeah, I was supposed to be a propagandist. I was supposed. I can look how I make people love blacks. Look how I like make people love the Aboriginals. I know my ish. I know how to do it, baby.
Hey.
But again, in a sense, yes, they want you to be propagandists. But what happens is that that money is the issue, as you said. The money is an issue. But one of the problems that you have is that like I remember when I was getting my PhD. I was getting my PhD in educational psychology. I couldn't get it in. I didn't want to get in linguistics or anthropology because I had written more articles than the damn professors. So I wasn't going to let them get me in that class and then fail me. But then one of the girls, go ahead.
You said you didn't want to get in the class and the professors fail you because they're on some jealousy shit now that you've done more than they've done. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and but it was one of the white girls. She came from Canada, and so she was about to go into the dissertation writing stage, and then they said, "Oh, by the way, did you teach?" She said, "No," and then they said, "Well, you're not going to be able to get a job in educational psychology or ed psych because you don't have any experience teaching." So but a lot of times they don't tell you stuff until at the end, and just like when I was at university, a lot of the black kids after the first year, most of them feel they can't really hack it. So everybody goes into psychology. So you got about 100 black people with trying to get degrees in psychology. And then in a sense, nobody completes it, you see? And so then that is the thing I think that's very difficult, because you said that at the black institutions, they don't have the support staff to really push you toward matriculation, to really, get the skills and necessary and be able to get those jobs. And see, I think that's the whole point. And so when people are talking about, that HBCUs don't have strong endowments, it's because of the fact that the students that go there don't have any money, that their parents don't have any money. Remember, like you said, I mean, hey, when you was when you had those white friends and you did that. And plus, when I graduated, I don't know about you, but a lot of times you want to go to the college where your friends are going. You might have one friend. Like I know when I graduated, I went to Illinois, and then my one of my friends, he was going too, so we were roommates that first year and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so then a lot of times, so that also plays a role in terms of the college that you may want to attend. I don't know, even if you go to HBCUs, like one of my granddaughters, she wanted to go where her friends went, so I mean, hey, but again, in a sense, once you go out of state, you're asking for gigantic loans.
That's true. And well, I mean, I can only say that the mathed for me for undergrad, because I really did go to the school that gave me the most money and not in loans. I mean, I tried very hard to keep my undergrad loans to a minimum. And I feel like I was pretty successful there. I didn't have issues with loans until grad school. And then at that time, it was like, it's going to out because this extra education is going to give me the extra money. And while it did give me extra money, it didn't really do anything to my bottom line. Like, my bottom line has not done anything. Like Dr. Anderson's he says 0.5% of the wealth, and I see that in real time every day I get more money, things start costing more. So then it's like, how do you keep up with it when they're just, it's take, or every time we get some sort of reprieve. But like you said, I mean, going where your friends are going, it's all cool. I really want Black America to have a more deep conversation with our minis about what comes after high school, because in real time,
What do you
everybody's
think? What do you think the conversation should be?
it should be, well, it shouldn't even be life after high school, because in high school there should be something going on already. The school that I teach at now, they're very forward thinking. Like they have science for a project, but it's science for sovereignty. You're solving a problem, not just making a volcano because people make volcanoes. Don't you get tired of the volcano science? Every year people do volcanoes, but every year it's like, oh, somebody's gonna do. Okay, anyway, science for sovereignty solves the problem, and being forward thinking like that, to me, are the conversations that we need to be having with our youth, with the younger people, because in real time they're going to be met with these decisions that are going to have a very direct impact to their bottom line. And we haven't gotten paid what's owed to us. People are telling us that we should forget what's owed to us because what the country is doing to other people. I read an article today, Dr. Winters, and I know this is kind of off, but they were talking. It wasn't an article. I listened to a channel that I'm not going to name right now, but on this channel that people know about, it's an African, diasporian African, and she's talking about how she doesn't say reparations, but she's talking about how can America expect to be left alone when they're doing X, Y, and Z? And how can America expect to have any sort of decency about themselves when they're doing all of this stuff? And if America doesn't act right, and if America doesn't pay for its crimes, and it's all sounding like reparations, it's sounding like, if y'all don't pay us for the bad stuff that you've done to us, well, we're going to do something back. And I find that in real time, when we go to other countries, we're never so on our high horse. We're always helping in the back channel. My aunt lives in St. Kitts, and she's not over there trying to overthrow the government as much as she's had some very strong points about being Black, and then going to a country that's filled with Black people, and she's like, the math ain't math, and y'all, and then people don't like when you talk like that, and she's been met with a lot of resistance for having language like that. But it's not her trying to take over St. Kitts. She's not trying to make it hers as much as she's just like.
But she's FBA. She's FBA, and we think different. And we think different. And when you grow up, you grow up with a fighting spirit, and other people don't have that fighting spirit. I'm going to show a few commercials before we end, because I forgot earlier. So I just want to show a few things. Maybe you guys can be supportive.
Where is Yoshi?
What's up, everybody?
Yoshi's working on some other projects with Rhonda. Okay. They want to get an international program started.
That's right.
And so
all right, Yoshi, get it in. You're allowed to miss it.
That's right.
What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB, or find me on X at Justice, 4, Just Us. That's JUSTICE, 4, JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first.
So dreamy.
Hey.
So dreamy.
Hey. I've just written a new book, History and Culture of the Black Aboriginals of America. Yes, I've written a new book. This book is called History and Culture of Afro-Americans. It's about the Aboriginal Americans. It's about the first people who inhabited America. Many people don't know about our great culture, this super culture that we created, but I discussed this book. In 489 pages, you'll find out so much information, great information, about, in a sense, what the Aboriginal foundational Black Americans did. you're going to see in the sense that black people contributed much here. When the first Europeans got here, that's what they found. Yes, they found black aboriginals inhabiting the Americas. It was the black aboriginals that built this country. This is why you had to get my book. Get my book, History and Culture of the Aboriginal Blacks of the Americas. In this book, you will find out the truth. You will know what we created. You will know who we are. Get this book. Buy it now.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
I check out that school. It's reasonable rates, and now you can join it every Sunday. And I try to support Yoshimod. Yoshimod could make videos for your upcoming, family reunions, things like that. So support Yoshimod.
Space into another zone. Free spirit, she ain't messing with them petty hoes. Microwaves and cobalt outside her phone. Funkadelic vibe and smoking good on that drone. Call me eat the now with the cuz all up in a fro. This queen approach, she gon' drop it low to the flow. You know she liquid gold with the alchemy in the bowl. Trippy super soul is the greatest tale never told. She gon' get you right, you can set up when your goals. You gon' spend the night in the harmon out with your toes. You know she's super fun and the aura down to her bones. Super magic fairy, I'm lost in the rituals. She give me life like butterflies on the rose. Really rich and old, ain't nothing like cracker trolls. Hidden in the clothes, an extraterrestrial. And she never fold, try crackers up in the throat. She drink your wine, she rock you up like a pole. And she spark my mind with intellectual pose. Shade butter oils and linger up in your nose. Independent goddess like rhythm up in the soul.
Yellow honey, drip slow. Sweet agave, at the toe. Independent finance, wine, citrus mist. My Wonder Woman, I wonder how to.
I hope you guys support some of those products and programs. Tonight, family, this show went so fast. It's almost 2 hours. It doesn't seem like it. What happened? It's Eve's fault. Eve came tonight, and Eve was really on a skateboard. She just was looking like she was sitting down. She's on a skateboard, and while she's on that skateboard, she was making this show. Jasmine, oh. But again,
Dr. Winters, we've only been live for an hour.
We have.
Time flies when you're having fun.
We started at 7 my time, and that would have been 8 o'clock your time, right?
Mm-mm.
What time do we start?
We started at 8 your time, 9 my time.
Oh, See what happened? See what happened, family? Is that eclipse is messing with me. That eclipse is messing with me. I'm all discombobulated. So yeah. Oh, that's right. We did start. Maybe I'm getting dementia. I better watch out. So family, if you don't see me in a couple of weeks, you know what happened. I was lost in a fog, a mental fog. But again, that was a good time to show some of the commercials.
No. It's definitely always a good time to promote. It is sweltering in my house tonight. That I've had to change tops. But hey, look, it's Eve.
That's beautiful. I like that's your. I didn't know you had the t-shirts too. I thought it was just a sweatshirt.
I haven't put this on the site because I don't know that people want to wear my name
again so the family can see what it's like.
There you go.
Eve.
It says Eve.
The math is mathing. The math is mathing.
The math has to math, or if it doesn't, say it with your chest. I want to put it on some t-shirts, especially for the summertime. I have a new product, because we've been in the gym super heavy.
Let's go to your site. Do you have it on your site?
Yeah, I do.
Let's show it.
Come here, Darian. Sit right here. There it is. Let's share the screen.
Do.
I think Isla shared it in the chat already, but that's the wrong thing. We have a new product in the shop. It is a water bottle for your workout and hydration needs.
I might just get it to drink. I don't work out.
Hey, you used to, right? Are you?
My wife was alive.
So that's the water bottle. I like it. I think that we're gonna put this on some workout gear as well, to keep the brand unity going. But if you're interested, check that out. I would love for you to check it out. Daria has been wanting to say hi to you ever since we've been going live, and since it's kind of like past her bedtime when we finish, I told her she'd come say hi right now, and then she's got to go to bed. So there she is.
Put her on the camera, can you? How you doing?
Hi, Dr. Winters.
Hey, did you have any questions? Did you want to ask the grandfather of research?
Did you do the Sunday school where he came to Sunday school?
Yes.
Did you like that? Okay, cool. Well,
so now she's got a question. Ask it.
You got any questions? No. You know who I think would have a good conversation with him? Well, do you think so?
Yeah, he would.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe you talk to your teacher tomorrow and see if you can work something out. Good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
It's so wonderful when they're 12 and 13 and 14. Well, 12 and 13, you can get them to go to bed.
Well, yeah, you would think. They
Well, at least they go in the room, and as long as you come back in an hour later and turn off the TV, I tell you, don't turn that TV on.
It's the phone. Ever since they got a phone, they think that they can. The minis they mimic us all the time.
Uh-huh.
We're live right now, so what I'll see them upstairs, and they'll be having a program. They'll have a show that one of my sons is doing the news and the weather, and he's bringing it to you live, and then you got them panning with the camera to another one who's doing her workout. She's getting her workout going, and it's just
that's good. They're gonna O'Shea Duke Jackson, he would say that's good. He says that they need more people on YouTube so they can make money.
There you go. Yeah, they feel like they have content. I said you better content them grades.
Yeah.
But no, I told her she could, since it was commercial break, and now she's gonna have so many questions that she didn't want to ask you right now. She'll have them later. So,
but it's interesting. It's interesting, because most of the time, I'm very. It's sad for me to say this, family, but it seems as though if you go to a private school or your home school, it seems like when you get into the world, you get jobs faster or jobs easier. This is based on anecdotal evidence. Like if you go to Catholic school or some private school, but I don't understand why. I don't understand why that makes a difference. I don't understand why it makes a difference that because you did attend a private school, then the opportunities in life, it seems as though, are a little bit easier and better. But I don't know how, I don't know why that should be proper. I mean, you can
You
come out
say,
with.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
When you say private school, you mean in general private education versus public education, or are we talking college again?
I'm talking private period. You
Okay.
know, like in Chicago, we got it's a few private high schools, and then every year they say the entire university, I mean the entire high school is accepted at universities around everybody's accepted at a university, and they've got $4 million in scholarships, and they're going away to university, HBCs, PWIs, and they're going to be successful. But then again, you know, so many of us go, but so few of us complete it. You know, so few of us complete, especially when it comes to black boys. You know, black boys, they want to get everything right away. So I don't care if it's in PWI or HBCU, since they want to get everything right away. They don't have that patience to maybe stick around, and and they don't even really, and because of the fact that the trade, at least in Chicago, I don't know about Washington, but at least in Chicago, all the trade schools are out in the suburbs.
Hmm.
All the trade schools are in the suburbs, and the real predominantly white suburbs, because Chicago got a lot of entirely black suburbs. Country Club Hills, maybe you know Country Club Hills, University Park. It's a whole lot of entirely black suburbs, but it just so happens that the training centers, if you want to get a trade, are in the white suburbs, and so then in a way, it's almost in a way to make sure that those black people who want to get a higher education, especially the black boys, aren't going to be able to get that trade and get into those jobs, and
The location, in the chat, they were talking about location, and that is so real. Because if you put it in an area that they can't get to, then it's kind of that the math is very simple, and things become very clear who they want to have these jobs. I think that
it's complicated.
it was impressed on us, me and my brother, that the fact that we went to private school, that's going to give us more access and opportunity. But I don't know that that's real. I think what's real is if the parents are committed to making the child competitive, then it doesn't really matter where they go, public school, private school, whatever, because the parents are having plans. They're thinking, they're forward thinking. They're not waiting for something to happen. In the same breath, you've got parents who know, I like basketball, my child's going to be a basketball player. And then as soon as they can dribble a basketball, they're at camps. They've got coaches. They're playing on teams. And, there's a very real commitment to this lifestyle, or at least the competitive aspect of being a basketball player. And if you can do that for sports, then why can't you do that for other things? And I don't know that you can't, as much as people just maybe aren't having the thought, or they don't think that it'll translate the same way. But I think it does. And we just need to do it more.
But again, that's private. It's private. You're spending extra funds. Like when you put your kid, if your kid wants to play football or run track, then the parent has to invest a lot of money.
Yes.
For example, my grandson, he plays on he'll be in 7th grade this year, so he plays on a 6th grade, 7th grade, upper grades in a football team. Okay, but to play on the team, You got to pay for the shoes. You got to rent the uniform. You got to rent the helmet, and so then everything still becomes private. So it appears that the kid who has the opportunity to attend some type of private educational program, they have greater access maybe to a PWI or even an HBCU. I think, okay, if you send your kid to a private school, that means the parents are very concerned, and I think they're going to put more pressure on you to be successful in that private school than in the public school.
Oh yeah, because their money matters. I tell my students all the time, because it is a private school, that I already have a third grade education, fourth grade education, whatever class that I'm teaching at the time. I've already done this, and your parents have already done this. But I promise you, they are not going to want to know that you just threw away all the hundreds of dollars that it costs for you to go here this month. So maybe we don't goof off so much today, or maybe we get back to being productive. But I know that the parents who are doing the extra step and putting their child in a place that they have to pay for additional education, they feel like that's enough. And then the teachers, the school that's going to give them everything that they need to get to the next step, because maybe the parent didn't know what the next step was. But they did know that this step right here is going to make them more competitive than their peer counterparts. And I like that thought. It's just incomplete. You can't just put a person in a kitchen with a cookbook and some ingredients and not necessarily show them around the kitchen. Maybe they're used to gas appliances and you have electric, or maybe they're used to cooking on a fire and now they have to cook on a stove. At least an introduction to, with a little bit of guidance, makes more sense than just throwing you out there and telling you that you'll figure it out. Because PWI or HBCU, a lot of us were just thrown out there because our parents didn't know what the move was. We weren't being taught to be forward thinking as much as we were taught that you're going to need a job because bills cost money. You don't want to live off the government. But then look at what you just said earlier. Most of us get government jobs anyway, so living off the government anyway,
It's weird. It's weird.
You lose either way. You either get Section 8 or you get a pension that you might get later, maybe.
Well, very few jobs get pensions now, so that's kind of it's very tough, very tough. But the thing is that it's kind of not fun, because when they were having a debate earlier this month, when the NFL players were with the white girls, and in a way sometimes you have to envy Europeans, boys and girls, that they can go to a university and they can study a class, they can study a discipline or a subject that they want to study. Whereas a lot of times when we go to university, we're thinking about what I need to take to get that job. Whereas they're saying, hey, I want to be an archaeologist. I want to be an archaeologist. And so they study archaeology. And then you say, damn, I sure would love to be an archaeologist, but I better take some education classes so I can get a job. You see what I'm saying? So you got this conflict of interest, even as a Black student and going to either an HBCU or PWI. It is can I study a subject that I want to study, or do I have to study a subject that's going to help me to make money? Because see, I only went to college for two reasons. I went to college so I could play football, and I went to college so I could be a social studies teacher, because I had already, but I had decided on those careers years before I got out of high school. Did you already know what you wanted to do when you went to university?
No. I knew, like I said, I knew that I was going to have to do the things that I got the scholarship for. So I played the trumpet, so have to play the trumpet at least in some form or fashion to continue to get this trumpet money. And then in real time, I said I did not want to be a trumpet player. And no offense to the people I know who are still instrumentalists and who are really good. No, keep being really good. That was not going to be me. I was never going to be a trumpetist, trumpeter. Mm-mm. No, but it did pay, for a couple years, and that is how I decided what I didn't want to do. And then in real time, I said I wanted to be an artist, Dr. Winters, and my parents said, that's not going to pay anything. Like, what else you got? And I didn't have anything else because I just knew that I wanted to study the thing that I thought was cool, and I wanted to be really good at the thing that I thought was cool. And that was going to be enough. And in real time, after you graduate, I didn't get a job in my field. I got a job doing something completely different. And then, get more school, go back to school. You'll get more money. And I did, and I didn't. Teachers don't get paid shit. But like you said, it is one of the lanes that they push us into. Be a teacher.
Yeah.
Be a teacher.
But down south, it's a little bit different. Like when I started teaching, the people in the suburbs, they were making the big money, $50,000-$60,000 a year. But I found that because in the Chicago public schools, you get paid off the amount of education you have. By the time I retired, I was making more than my principal.
Look, in real time, after I got my master's, there were people who had been teachers for 25 years who weren't making what I was making. And it was just that extra.
Yeah.
And they hated it. They hated everything about that. But I would say, well, why don't you just go back and get your master's? Like, it's so easy. Just go back and get your master's. And they would say, they've been teaching since they could teach, since they were 22. They've been a teacher since 22. They're 42 now. They're 50 years old now. And all it took was 2 more years of school for me to get the same salary as someone who's been working half my life.
It's
crazy. It's crazy.
That's just one of those things, because like when I started teaching, I already had a master's because when I graduated, I had a BA and a master's. And so then I got another master's. So that was 46 hours. Then I got my PhD. And so then, so those people who don't get the education, their salaries reach a point where they don't move. You know what I'm saying? And you're steadily moving because you're going to school. And they shouldn't get jealous. All they have to do is go to school. But so many people, but I remember when I graduated from university, I was a little bit disappointed because my cousin Johnny Jr. and my friend Rose. Okay, like Rose, she had went to university and she studied French, and we had took French for 4 years together. So, I could speak French like a Frenchman back in the day. I could probably vous français. I had a beautiful accent. Now it's got corrupted. So after we graduated,
what was your French name?
Toulabette. You crazy? She called me Toulabette. No, it was Claude. But she was always saying Toulabette, because the thing is that I would get a red D. Back in the day, you got your grade off the year term. So I'll get a red D and red D first semester, red D second semester, red D third semester. Get a C. Oh, I passed. And so then, but I could speak French real good. But then when I graduated, Rose, she had a degree in French, and my cousin, he had went to Kansas, so he had a degree. He had a degree in physical education. So because their parents had money, then they went back to school. Rose went back to go into special education, and that was a hot thing back in the 70s. And he went into school administration. So again, a lot of times, even though you came out in art, but when you got your master's, I guess you took that in some other field that could help you matriculate the money. And so the only problem I had is that I wanted to work until I was 70. I wanted to work until I was 70. But I had to retire when I was 66 because my principal, she was so jealous, and the assistant principal, I'm making I was making super duper. And so then I said, damn. I said, these young people, they want to take these jobs. My baby doll said, Clyde, when you was young, didn't you want to take those old niggas jobs? I said, hell yeah. So you got to retire and get out the way.
Man, more olders need to take your example and use it. There's too many people who want to retire in their job. School counselors, that's a position that people die in. Like literally, They will not leave that job. And then, like you said earlier, you'll have all these Black people getting a psychology degree, and there's only like 5 psychologist jobs in their hometown, but 100 of y'all are now competing against each other for these 5 jobs that you're not even going to get because they're going to hire an Asian or someone who's not even from here to do the job. So, useless degrees abound and lots of debt. But if you don't know somebody, if you didn't do that internship, then you're definitely not going to get in the door. And maybe that's not even where we need to be. I want Black America to get very comfortable with the fact that everybody's not going to go to college, and it's not disparaging.
But it is disparaging.
Honest.
You know why?
Why?
Well, everybody, because the point is that they've taken all the factory jobs and put them in the suburbs. And they put them in the suburbs where there's no public transportation, at least in the Chicago area. So you got all these jobs in the suburbs, and then a lot of the Latinos, because they work together, they're able in a sense to maybe get a pool of people and they can drive to those jobs. Whereas a lot of us, we don't have cars, and so then if you don't go to university, then you're not going to have the opportunity to get those jobs in the suburbs. Then on top of that, a lot of us don't have the opportunity to get a trade because to get a trade, you have to live in you have to be able to go to those schools in the white community. And again, we come down to public transportation is not available. So, but see, if you get a degree, then, you might be able to get a little something. They might even help you move to a different place. And you may get some grounding. You may be able to get it. Just like when I was at Illinois, when I got to be a senior, they're sending me all these I don't know if this happened to you, but when I got to be a senior, they were sending me all these credit applications, So, so you're getting credit and all that type of stuff. So it's kind of interesting.
I think that that's where the conversation has to go, though, because in real time, high school, that is when you should be solidifying a thought about what you want to do later. And that's that people say life after high school is going to be college or military, like my parents said. Yeah. No, plumbers and HVAC and, trade tech jobs, these are all well-paying jobs. People shit on the garbage collector people, but they're making 6 figures. You can't get a job at McDonald's with your dual degree because you're overqualified, but you would shit on the person picking up the trash who's getting paid and has benefit. They still got a government job and they didn't have to go to all extra school to.
That's right.
So I don't want us to feel like that means that we're uncompetitive. I think that makes us more competitive. Go ahead.
Just like my niece graduated. She's in California. She graduated from law school, and her daughter in New York graduated from law school. I said, damn, one in New York and another in California, come to Chicago so we can sue somebody, But again, in the sense, you got this problem where the girls want to go to schools, the boys don't want to have that patience. The boys don't want to have that patience. I was telling my sons, I said, damn, you didn't want to finish college. So I said, why don't you go get a trade? And then my wife said, the only trade they want to work. I said, y'all got to learn to work with your hands. She said, Clyde, the only hands, they just want to know how to work with women and use their hands and work with them. I said, damn, they need to get a damn trade. And it's so hard. It's so hard to get your boys to understand that, they got pretty good jobs now. They're working, they're not in jail. But at the same time, it's, a lot of times kids don't want to do, what's wrong with my mic? A lot of times kids don't want to do the things that can make it easy on them. They want to do it the hard way. I don't understand.
The hard way. Is it the hard way, or is it the way that everybody else gets to do it? We talk with my parents about letting the children be children, let them have holidays, let them have Christmas, let them do the things that, children should do. And then in real time, we have to also have very hard conversations with our children about life, because it's not the same for everybody. Our peer counterparts in other races don't have the same conversations with their children.
They don't.
And their children get to be children as long as possible. I mean, shit, if you still live at home at 35 and your parents got you the job you have and you're not paying any bills because you don't have to, that seems very childlike to me still. Yeah, you're an adult, you make your own decisions, you get a paycheck, you pay taxes. But in real time, you've never had to fend for yourself. You've never had to survive because mommy and daddy are still right there, or you've got a fallback. We don't have the same fallbacks.
Most of the time you don't. I remember my son had a girlfriend, Annette, and she said, the one thing about you winners, is that y'all let y'all kids hang around past 18. I said that just because a kid becomes 18, that doesn't mean that they're established. I said a kid should be able to stay in your home at least until they finish university or a trade school, because then they can get that job. And she said, well, hell, my parents told me to get out at 18. And so many Black people, they've set an age limit on when their kids can have to leave the house. And so that's like putting extra pressure on them. Whereas these Europeans, their kids have years to be able to, to matriculate the skills or the certification to be able to get those jobs, And it's kind of very sad that we don't give our kids a chance, some of us.
No, we don't. In the chat, egalitarian, I wasn't really trying to shit on people who still live at home as much as I find that I know a lot of white people who still live at home, and they didn't have the you're gonna have to do A or B because you can't just stay here after high school conversation. Like my parents told me and my brothers and sisters and all of us, we got told that you have to have a plan, and the plan, you need to figure it out because it's not my life. These aren't my loans. I'm not going to have to pay this stuff back. So make sure you get a job that's going to pay, make sure you're majoring in a degree that's going to get you a job that makes sense. But
that's the whole point. There's no job that you can take. I mean, you got a lot of Black people got BAs and masters in business administration. They got masters in business administration, and yet they're a manager at McDonald's. What is that? What is that? And so, you get these jobs, but you can't afford it, or the money is the math ain't mathing, as you usually say.
No, the math doesn't math because the struggle is not the same across the households. What I've seen people get turned down for being too qualified, being overqualified. I've gotten turned down for being overqualified in a job that I said, look, I will take the pay. Like I want the experience. I want to learn more about this industry that, I have this degree in, um, but in real time, I didn't have enough experience. I didn't know enough people. And that was it was like a printmaking job. I really like printmaking. That's part of my art stuff. But
Well, I think Tone's fight. This is extreme. I had a teacher that told us she still pays her son's phone bill at age 40. You don't know what the situation is. Now, I'll admit that when my daughter went to college, I wanted to make sure she had a phone because we'd had an incident in Illinois where this girl, she was going to college and she disappeared, and they never found her or her car. And I always felt that my daughter should at least have a phone, So I paid her phone bill. She wasn't 40 though.
Look, man, Dr. Wynn, I've never seen so many people whip out an EBT card or, like some sort of government benefit than I've seen other people. They tell us that we are the EBT queens and the food stamp assistant kings. Like, man, you go to Walmart on the 1st and the 15th, and that's not what you see. You don't see that. But what are we accepting? No, we're accepting people who say that they understand our struggle because they've got some melanin in their skin, and then we say that they can come to our schools because they've got melanin in their skin, and then they get out of the school and do that buffer class thing.
Yeah, but see, you got to look at it like this. A lot of Africans, when they come over here, their people got money. A lot of their people have money because they were choreographed. They wanted to make sure they picked the right people, and so then therefore they brought in the people who they felt they could dominate, but also who they could manipulate. So a lot of times that's what we have.
You're right. People say, the migrants are this group of needy people. These people who are coming over here, they need so much help. It's so expensive to get here. It's so expensive to come over here. And
how did they get here?
Nothing, right?
How did they get here? They had to have money.
They're fleeing on the wings of airplanes. Have you seen that picture?
Yeah.
2020, they were literally on that. No.
I remember Tariq had on one of his shows where they had some Asians, they was in California getting off this boat, running into the neighborhoods. These people, in a sense, it's pathetic, but see, I understand now why they do that, because see, that's a geopolitical thing, is that you want to have a large population if you think you can compete with the other nations. But at the same time, they're giving them money, they're giving them jobs. But it's always been like that. I remember my father. He used to always say, "Yeah, Clyde," he said, "when they brought those Hungarians, that destroyed every damn thing." So this ain't the first time. And that was back in the 50s. So they're always doing something to put us back.
What I'd like to know is why, if they understand the struggle, do they not do the reach back and help out thing? If you're coming here because of everything that we've done to assist in your struggle, then you would be the alumni giving back to the schools that we don't have the resources to do that for. In real time, the private school that I went to high school, they're having the same conversation, and the alumni who give back don't look like me. The alumni who do give back look more like them other people. And then they say, well, this is why we have these programs, because we're addressing the needs and concerns of our alumni population, of our returning students. And I say, well, maybe the other students would want to give back if they had the same opportunities and resources, but
right,
they don't. So it's not fair to even expect that of them, as much as they will. You matriculated through here. You're only as good as you are because you've got association to this school that you went to, and that should be enough, right?
But Craig Carr, he teaches at Howard, And he said that some of the students at Howard, their parents are still paying off their loans, their loans, and when you really hear a breakdown, you can see how the entire banking system today is based really on giving students loans. All the money that's owed, it's just amazing, all that money, and so these banks, they depend on it. That's why Biden and nobody can really cut the payments off.
I think that that's a bunch of crap because a free and appropriate public education, I think FAPE should extend all the way through a bachelor's because, well, if you're going to take out the necessary skills and learning in high school, no more economics, no more home ec, no more woodworking and metal shop and auto class, because we got to teach you about inclusion and we've got to teach you about genders. So then, yeah, you should extend the education through my first job. After that, maybe you have to pay for it. But Joe Biden and them, they want our reparations to come in the form of education only. And then they'll tell you they can't take your education from you. They can do everything to you, but they can't take your education. And I know people who want to give their degrees back because their education's not getting them the money. How you be a broke doctor? You've got $400,000 worth of debt. You're a doctor, though. You're supposed to be making the money, and maybe you are, but you've got $500,000 worth of debt to get to doctordom. No.
And a lot of times, you may want to do some things that are illegal, or you may do things under the cover, because the fact is that you want to make that money. And that's why a lot of times they give you certain medicines that aren't really good for you. But it's interesting, very interesting. But the thing is this, as I said, is the only thing I like about HBCUs is they have those very good internships, and that's what can get people in those jobs. But it seems like to me that it's a double standard, because I mean, when I was at Illinois, and even today, I look at the Alumni Association of Illinois. A lot of them came from HBCUs, but they're giving money to Illinois, but not to the HBCUs that they attended. So that just shows that they're hypocrites. They're hypocrites.
Hypocrites. Are they self-haters? Do they not like themselves, Dr. Winters?
I think it's because they feel it's more prestigious to give it to maybe Ohio State or Illinois instead of Morehouse or some of those other universities. Look at Morehouse. Morehouse, with all those people coming out being doctors, you'd imagine that once they but because they had to attend graduate school, maybe at another medical school, look like they should have a super endowment. But it's just the whole idea is that they don't feel. I think they don't feel that the black school deserves their money.
That's it's sad because I can say the same sentiments are felt over here, but only because I don't feel like the resources or energy were being poured into me as a student. And maybe it's because I went for grad school. I know that that's a different experience, undergrad, grad school. But it just seemed like an illusion. HBCU seems like an illusion, because when you get out of school, you're not going to be around a bunch of you. Not really. You might live around a bunch of you, but like you said, the jobs that we're coming into, it's not like you had somebody who was waiting for you with a job when you graduated. Not really. I mean, maybe some of y'all did, and I know some people who were Black, who were my peer counterparts, who did have jobs waiting for them. But these anecdotal evidences, I think that people should know about them, but you shouldn't bank on them. And then maybe we don't have jobs for each other because we're all trying to look for a job. If you're looking for a job, then you're not creating any jobs. So then where would the Black employer be that is looking for Black people to employ if nobody is out there being creative? So it's a lot of steps that I think and conversations that aren't happening in really pivotal times, because at the end of the day, after high school, you're going to college. And if you don't go to college, you're going to the military, and then at least the military will help pay for college later.
Yeah. And I know, like my son, he was in the Navy. You get the benefit that when you do try to get government jobs like fire department, police officer, any government job, you get more points because you did have a military service. Then you can add the military service to your pension, so it can have its good points. If you can get out with a good thing. But to me, the basic problem is that you attend university, but a lot of times the university doesn't help you to get a job. You had to get a job on your own. And so then therefore you don't really feel you owe that university anything, because you feel that I had to get this job and they didn't really help me. And so why do I really want to help them?
It's true. You wouldn't want to help them. Look, I was watching a bunch of the Greek ceremonies, when people are crossing, and it's just so strange to me to see people who are not from here. They're doing the steps, they're doing the motions, they're fully invested in this Black experience. Think Kamala as an AKA, right? That shit is weird to me. But, she's got melanin. She went to Howard. She's allowed. But also you've got white deltas and white Qs and white.
Really?
Man.
Really?
Man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't. No.
Mm-hmm. No,
don't
have to. No,
tell me that.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're gonna have to show you, because in real time I was so confused. People will say, "Oh, you gotta leave room for the allies." Do we have to leave room for the allies?
I don't think so.
An ally from outside the club, like, do they have to be in the club to be an ally?
Wow, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that.
I'm gonna show you. It's so crazy because, like, the white schools, they have fraternities and sororities.
Yeah, I used to know a lot of brothers when I was at Illinois. The ones who were going with the white girls, they joined white fraternities. So, but it was good because they need a job, because back in the day, the brothers, it was so hard to get a job. They usually died before their wives. That's why, if you notice, a lot of the mixed kids today, their fathers are dead. Or that stress of trying to be white men wears them out.
Look at this. Can you see this?
No, I'll put it out. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I can see it. You want to play it? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
He's shimmying.
No! Oh no! Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know that's not a Q, that's a Kappa. And I know there's distinctions and differences and such, but no, he's not the only one. And the white Delta, she's ooping. It's just
wow.
Niggas can't have anything. So not only are we including the continental diasporian Blacks, but we are also including the colonizer. Like, we can't have anything. But that happens at HBCUs. Like, it would make sense for it to happen at a PWI, right? You've got your Black Greek, whatever, at Harvard, Yale, MIT, fine. Somebody's gonna sneak in. But at Howard, that's gotta be like Mecca, or supposed Mecca of HBCUdom, or Hampton. Howard is the HU that I know and love. If you grew up with Hampton being HU for you, then I guess that's okay too. But in real time, it's the baseball team. It is the golf team, the tennis team, and your organizations are being infiltrated by people who don't fuck with us, and then these people are not giving back, so then the same shit. You get to come to a university that was not made for you. You get to get the degree. You get to get scholarship. You get to get internships in places that we've been fighting for. And then you leave. You
get the job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mathin'. But we've accepted that. And I think we've only accepted it because forward-thinking conversations are not happening during pivotal moments of the child's experience. And what I mean is high school. Some of these conversations need to be held before they can have their first job. Why? Because, if their first job is like Dairy Queen, and then they're thinking, oh, I'm just going to make this much money so I can buy my car, or I'm going to make this much money so I can buy this. But they're not talking about being innovative or creative or supporting themselves. Go ahead.
One of my students in my research class, she's talking about the fact that when she talked to Black college graduates, she find out that they're not making as much money as she is. And she just, she works for the State Department. And she was just talking about how it's just, she was so surprised that the Black college graduates weren't even making as much money as she was making, in her position, But I told her, I said that the vast majority of white people that are in the Foreign Service, the real ones making the big money all came from where? Stanford, MIT, Harvard and Yale. So, it's the people with the big money get the big jobs,
I wonder if, well, okay, you said you were getting paid the big bucks when you were in the school system, and then after
by the time I got ready to retire, when I started, it was low.
So as you matriculate and you get your experience, it's still for them people, right? Should you have tried to go out on your own and start a school, you wouldn't have been as resourceful financially.
I did try to start a school, but Black people don't want to spend money for private schools. They don't want to, they want everything free. They don't want to be supportive of independency. See, if you try to start something, they want you to already have everything, just like Harvard and Yale, or just like the charter schools, or just like the top public, the top public school in your town, whatever it is. And like in Chicago, we got three Walter Payton, Whitney Young, and there's one more. These are the three top high schools in Chicago, but they just so happen to be the three top high schools in the state of Illinois. And you got all these suburban people somehow getting their kids, they're getting their white kids into those schools. Whereas many of the kids in the city, they're not getting to these schools. So they're not getting those options. They're not getting those abilities. And like you said, with these HBCUs full of foreigners, is it any wonder that they ain't shit anymore? Is it any wonder that nothing's coming out of there? No research, no care about African. Why should they care about Afro-American studies? They're not Afro-Americans. They're not FBA, so of course they wouldn't care.
You're making an excellent point. Why would they give a damn? That is the beauty of the buffer class, you guys, is that you can pick the Blacks that don't share the experience. And then because they don't share the experience, they don't share the experience. The things that make us question things, the things that make us say that that might not be safe. Being the only Black in the room is not necessarily where you want to be. You don't want to be the only Black on a boat necessarily, with a group of others, because then maybe you don't make it back off the boat. We're not so trusting. And these other groups, I find that they're fleeing for something so heinous or so bad, some really bad self-inflicted shit. And I say self-inflicted because if you come from a population where it's mostly y'all and not a lot of them, self-inflicted problems. Then they come over here and they say, well, things are a little bit easier for y'all because, well, you're not doing it to yourself. They're doing it. And then I can kind of buffer. I can be this liaison of sorts in between them and y'all. But that buffer is just, it's not fair, Dr. Winters. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like I'm bitching or whining because I hate that. But in real time, they're getting access to jobs and resources and programs. And then we're told to work harder.
Mm-hmm.
How?
Yeah. You can't, you know, but at the same time, you can't give up. You know, like my kids, my wife woke up when we used to always talk about our dreams. And so one day my wife woke up and I said, "What was your dream?" And she said, "The only thing I remember from my dream was education is good, but boldness is better." And so then I told my kids after I said that from now on, make that your mantra. Education is good, but boldness is better. I said, if you be bold enough, and see, this is the thing I think that holds some people back is that they're afraid to take a chance. They're afraid to be told no, especially Black men. They're afraid to be told no. That's why a lot of times they give up instead of trying to get a better job opportunity or to move forward. They don't want to do that because they're afraid to be told no, you see. And but I tell my kids, education's good, boldness is better. And I tell you out there too, family, no matter what education you got, you still have to be bold. And see, that sister, she can go and she can go and apply for a job and they can say, well, we can't hire you this time, miss. You know, and then she'll keep trying. Whereas if you tell a brother, well, we can't hire you, then he'll just say, he'll hear some other brother say, hey, let's go stick up someplace. Let's go steal a car. Let's go and you know, I can give you some dope to sell for me. You know, they give up too quickly. We had to in a sense work harder. See, I had 5 boys, so I felt that raising my sons, I couldn't let them ever get away with anything. I could never because I felt that if you let a black boy think he was slick, he's fucked up the rest of his life. And so then I always had to cap my kids, but all praise on the God. Nobody in jail right now. That doesn't mean somebody won't go to jail later. But the point is this, is that you have to give your sons a little different talk than you give your daughter. You know, your sons, you have to tell them that they had to try a little harder and not give up.
That's do you think that our diasporan counterparts are having the same conversation? Because I don't.
No.
I think they're having the same conversation. But I do know that, you know, coddling the boys, that's not productive. And then hardening the girls is also not productive. But how do you teach them to be competitive if you're not doing one of those things? I don't know that I've met the person that you're talking about, you know, the one who got told no for that job but kept going for it, or got told no and then just didn't do anything.
Which one, girl or boy?
Either. I'm thinking because either everybody got the job that they wanted or they didn't, and then everybody moved on collectively. Like, all right, you don't want me, fine, let me go somewhere else. But
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. You went somewhere else. But a lot of times, many brothers, after a while, they get tired of going somewhere else, and then they say, "I'll do something slick. I can make it easy way."
I get that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know, and see, but that's the whole point. That's that determination that many women have, and it's kind of hard to transfer that determination to your boys. You know, and now because the fact is this, they want to do something slick. You know. And unless you can stop them from being slick when they're young, they're going to fuck up down the road. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is, you know. And
sure.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because I had 5 boys and I just had to be on my toes. But see, my wife, she wanted some girls, but I said I'm not. I said I'll give you one girl, and the rest of them got to be boys and stuff. Yes, I knew how to make them. I knew how to make them. But anyway, I know you don't believe it.
No, I mean 5 boys and then
one girl.
Baby, is that the girl? The baby is the girl?
The baby is a boy too.
So then, yeah, you said you were going to show her that you meant it.
But I knew what to do. She was mad at me.
I like how you moved, Dr. Winter.
She was mad at me, but I said, "Hey." She said, "Now." And then when my daughter, when she graduated from college, see, you want all these boys. My daughter graduated from college. Your boys, they went to college, but they didn't finish. You know what my sons told me? They said, "Pops, we can never be as smart as you, so we don't need to go to college." Said you're so full of shit. Ugh.
That's in real time. You having to deal with the boys and their workaround. Maybe this is devil's advocate type talk. I like the workaround. I like that the Black man has the additional thought to go out and do something else because it's not going to be given to him. So, okay, maybe he doesn't get it right and he does something stupid. Okay. Other people do too, like first them across the board, if we're going to be holding people accountable for their actions, let's make it even. I think context matters. If you're stealing because you're hungry, that might matter, versus like going and just stealing like a TV. But, the laws don't work like that for us. And people don't really care about the why as much as they care about what happened. And if that's really all they care about is the outcome, then it really wouldn't matter how you got there. You need to pay the bills or the lights are going to get turned off.
That's the urban male experience. That's the urban male experience. But the only problem is that you have to me, I felt as a father, I had to conquer that. Because see, by me growing up in the hood, and they were growing up in the hood, hey, you walking down the street, and you're 40 years old, and somebody saying, hey, folks, that's what the disciple gang would say to other people. Hey, folks, and then you got some people in their 50s still gang banging. Come on now, and so then this is the way it was. But the point is is that you have to, in a sense, see. When I was teaching in school, I always wanted to teach my students is that I always wanted to teach my boys when I taught my boy students. We had a branch school and we had the big house. When I taught at the branch school, if some kids wanted to fight, I said, okay. I would I said if you want to fight, it's going to take me, a while. And so whenever if a fight broke out in my class, I would take baby steps to go break it up. And then the kids say, Mr. Winters, come and break up this fight. I said, I'll be over there. After a while, I didn't have any fights in my classroom because they knew I wasn't coming to break this up. If they wanted to fight, I said, well, at lunchtime, I'll let y'all go outside and y'all can fight. So they didn't do that. But I always tried to teach my sons, and I taught my students. It's one thing that they would tell you is that I taught them that as a man, as a Black man, the only thing you have is your word. The only thing you have is your word. I said that nothing else you have. You may not have any money, but you got to stand on your word. You got to stand for something. If you say something, you got to mean it. And so I'd say, do you promise? I bet on my mom. I said, well, I don't want to hear that shit about your mom or your granddaddy or your grandma. I said, are you going to do this based upon the fact that you as a man stand on it? And so to me, that's what you got to do when you're raising boys. You got to teach them, in a sense, you got to teach them to want to stand on their own 2 feet. Because I'm not against gay people, but I didn't want my sons to be gay, because I felt, and I'm gonna tell you why. I felt that it was bad enough being a Black man, all the problems that we have. And I felt that if they became gay, they're getting extra discrimination, extra punishment, extra mixed treatment. You're laughing, but that's how I felt.
That's I laugh because I find that I'm telling people the same thing. You're claiming gay over black because you're going to get something additional. Yeah. And you're talking about the negative, but in real time, you don't be black anymore and you're just gay, and now you've got benefits programs and people fighting for your right to fuck people that you want to fuck. Like,
you got it.
Even an argument, right? But don't be black. You can't be fighting for you for being black.
We're gonna be street now. My father told me, said that. He said, Clyde, the only people that get stuff out of life easy is they get fucked. He said women get fucked and fags get fucked. Yeah. Homosexuals get fucked. So if you want to be fucked, then that's what you be. But if you want to be a man, you have to be ready to stand on your 10 toes down. If you want to be a man, you have to be there to really be ready to fight, to survive. It's hard. It's hard in these streets to fight to protect that pussy. It's hard. It's hard. Yes, I listen to Tariq. Yes.
Oh, you killed the internet.
No, Tariq says it all the time. It doesn't matter.
No, that's very real. Protect your pussy, because it's yours.
Because hey, you got to do it. I never get that. One day, one of my sons, when he was young, he drove up to the house, and so I said, "Hey, what up, though?" We were sitting on the front porch, so we came over to the car. He let the window down. I said, "Damn, I don't want to get cut." But the funny thing is that now that he made 50 the other day. And now that, after he got in his 30s, he stopped that stuff. So again, maybe he just had to, maybe he felt I was a little too strict, and so he wanted to get out there and experience the world,
Yeah, have his little his break. What is it the Amish people do? They have a year of sin in land. That's something. I think that when we have a safe space, most of us are not going to get glitch on the stupid shit. We might toy around with things that we're unfamiliar with or things that we were told not to. But for the most part, a lot of us just have common sense. We know that we've got responsibilities to our families, to our jobs. Yeah. The things that they try to blanket statement us with really comes from other people. And then if we don't say anything about it, then we will take it on as our own. And I just would love for us to try to, if we're delineating, we're going to start claiming more of our shit across the board.
You got to.
HBCUs, while the one that I went to, I don't feel like it did as much as the white school I went to. Maybe it's because there's not enough ownership there. We're kind of giving it away, but it wasn't even really made for you anyway. It was the children of the slave owners who made these HBCUs.
But it's the same thing with integration. Period. The more we try to be somebody else. See, that's what I love about Tariq and his delineation movement, is that it is time. It is time, Professor Black Truth. It's time that we have to differentiate. We have to, in a sense, understand that we are a separate people. We did go through ethnogenesis, and we became the people we became the people we are. And I think that's very important. And I think that it's only by accepting that reality that we can move forward. How did you want to close tonight?
Well, definitely check out the commercials from the middle of the program. You guys, you don't have to go to college. Don't do it, because really it's just a bill right now until Joe Biden makes college free for Black people, because that's what they want to give us for reparations. Don't accept it as reparations though. But if he wants to, give us free college.
Just like, have you noticed New York City New York City used to have free education, period. And that's why, if you notice, most of those people who professors around the country happen to be from a certain ethnic group.
Mm-hmm.
See, but once they got their degrees, when Black people started going to schools in New York, they changed the whole program.
Oh yeah, and that's what they'll do, you guys. They'll say that's what they said. They said you need a college degree to get the higher paying jobs. But then now that all of us have college degrees, they say no, you need additional college
training.
You need training and certification and experience. So I say, have the conversations now. Maybe try to impart some of your passion on your minis, because then they're not guessing what they want to do later. They can tell you right now, I want to broadcast the news to people. I want to talk to people, and then you guys can have more conversations that make sense versus, oh yeah, you're going to go to college and you're going to have to owe a lot of money before you can start making money. That math ain't math.
Just like I heard Tariq today, and he was talking about that one of his sons, and he said he told one of his sons, and he said, what do you want to be? He said, I don't know. And then he said, what do I want you to be? He said, well, you want me to be a lawyer. And he said, and you're going to be a lawyer. And I thought to myself, Tariq, you just don't understand. Your kids are going to do what they want to do. I had everything organized with my sons. I knew the jobs they were going to do. Which one was going to be the business lawyer? Which one was going to do civil rights? I had it all set out, and they told me they didn't say it out loud, but they said under their breath, "It's mine." You see, they didn't say it out loud because they knew I would have been angry. But again, in a sense, is that you got to allow your children to do what they want to do. If they want to go to HBCU, okay, fine. But you had to understand that it's not as constructive, it's not as organized, and you're not going to get the support. If you go to a PWI, they talk about you being isolated. You can be isolated at HBCU. If you don't get out there and talk to people and meet people, it's a waste of your time.
Before we end, in the chat, it was I think it was JP. What you just said is what I need to reiterate. When you're going to find a job, and I know that a lot of it is online, like Dr. Winter said, if you go to the business and you make yourself a people, that sets you apart from all of the other applicants, because now they've been able to put a face with your name. Right. They know that JP is interested because JP drove all the way down here and she didn't have to. Yeah. You start showing interest in creative ways, then you don't have to blow up their phone lines or send a bunch of emails.
It's just not the resume. It pays a step, because see, that's why if you want, you have to really look, you have to really search for a job. But thank you. Thanks, family, for coming. Thanks for sharing letting us share this time with you. But the most important thing is that if you're not going to speak up, support the ones that do. Have a good evening.
To speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears, tell them to stay away. Control your honest feelings.